Children of the night, what music they make.
They're all gonna laugh at you!
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
What's that?
I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash you a bit.
Hey, freakos. Welcome back to Final Guys, the most popular podcast in the BX. That's the Boogie Down Bronx to you.
Wow. Well,
we don't call it that anymore, Jack. Jesus.
The BX, they do.
Maybe in the BK. When they make fun of the BX.
I wish I had some BK right now. A little Whopper action wouldn't hurt. I'm Jack. We got Hunter, Jason, and Tim. Hello, fellas.
What's up?
Hi.
Hi, guy.
All right. Thanks for all the energy.
Mm-hmm.
So,
woohoo!
Everybody got today. The main feature is going to be the reason I brought up the Bronx is our main feature is Vampires versus the Bronx, the vampire movie on Netflix. So we'll get around to that later. But before we do that, how's everybody doing? Anything to report?
Watching the movie while we do the first half of this. I should be done by the time we get to the review. So if I'm quiet, it's because I'm just, doing my homework.
All right.
I actually don't have anything to announce this week. I hadn't thought about it, but I think we're in the clear.
No,
Yeah, I got nothing, surprisingly.
All
I've
right,
watched 11 horror movies since October 1st.
Except
probably
the one
watched
you were supposed to
30.
watch.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great point. What the hell?
Look, I had my day off. I had my whole plan. I said, I'm going to watch April Fool's Day. I did Amy Steele double feature April Fool's Day, Friday the 13th Part 2. Watched another movie, and I said, we're going to watch this next. And then, family.
Excuse me, but we are not in the what did I watch section of the podcast
Family.
yet,
I'm not
so-
talking about those movies. Those are just Horrortober movies. So yeah.
Tim, what did you say? You watched 30 movies?
I probably watch about 30 movies, yeah. I watch about 4 to 5 horror movies a day now.
He's getting paid for this too.
Working from home is amazing. That's all I can say.
Gosh. I managed to barely sneak in my last one right before we started. Like it ended 20 minutes before this.
There, you know what? Here's a chance, Tim, for you to teach an efficiency class because you're working from home. Jason's home. You got to teach him how to cram all these movies in.
Yeah, it's almost like he's getting paid to watch the movies, and I don't get paid to watch mine. It's like
It's
a weird
disgusting.
difference.
I'm disgusted by it.
I'm jealous of it.
Chad Lutsky should be paying you for what you're watching right now.
Seriously, you should be paying these rental fees.
All right. There's a drinking game that goes along with this podcast.
I got it.
What are the words?
All right. If we say these words, you drink. I don't care what you drink. If you like heroin, you shoot. Jack, if you say Murphy, Sosa, or vampire, if I say white, bat, or reflection, I'll say none of these things because I didn't see the movie. Jason, if you say social, Amityville, or humor, beefcake, Samson. If you say laughed, blade, or cat, and that's blade with a capital B. So it just can't be like a knife.
No, the character.
Right. And bonus, if any of us say Brooklyn, Bronx, or boys.
Boys.
Boy.
Holla at you, boys.
Beefcake, huh?
I'll go with it.
That's what it is now.
I'll take it. I'll take all the compliments I can get.
He's got the little vampire emojis in there. He's putting in the work.
Yeah, he is.
He always does.
Pretty good.
All right, Jack.
All right. Thanks for reading the dictionary of drinking words.
If we add someone else, it's going to get ridiculous.
It should just be, what are the words you don't drink?
Yeah.
The, were, and.
Diaphanous.
Ooh,
Diaphanous.
I would drink to that.
Yeah, I like that. Mm.
Diaphanous social.
Oh. All I have nothing to drink up here. I even took out all my empties, which required an enormous hefty bag.
Now you could retire on those.
Holy crap! It was like a year's worth of empties just sitting all around me.
What do you finish them and just throw them over your shoulder?
No, I just put them on all these areas all around me that you can't see. It was just like a soldier of dead beer looking at me. A soldier, an army of dead beers.
The dead soldiers.
I'm not even drinking tonight. Maybe I should.
You definitely should.
Yeah, whatever.
All right, I'm going to hit this news real quick. If you're looking for Halloween viewing, Blumhouse is releasing 4 movies on Amazon Prime.
Ooh.
And 2 of them came out today. And 2 of them are coming out on... There's going to be even 4 more in 2021. The rest of them come out on... So 2 today, 2 on October 13th, and then 4 more in 2021.
I'm going to watch them tomorrow.
It's called The Welcome to Blumhouse. 8 unsettling thrillers developed and produced by blah, blah, blah. So today came out The Lie, which has TV's Felicia Rashad, Mrs.
Huxtable?
Huxtable.
Oh, my God. Claire.
The Black Box, which has Joey King, whom I mentioned last week,
You did.
which is a young up-and-comer, and she's going to be in that Creepshow animated thing. Then something called Evil Eye and Nocturne with Sydney Sweeney on October 13th.
I feel like there's been a bunch of movies named Nocturne, or I might be wrong. But I feel like I've seen that before.
I feel like for some reason I'm going to watch Nocturne.
Is it a vampire movie?
It's got Sydney Sweeney in it.
Oh.
Plus, Jack is very well acquainted with nocturnal emissions. Woke up wet again.
And that's the show, everybody. Good night. But there's more.
No.
Things to watch coming. Shudder, a little horror, a Netflix for horror fans you might be familiar with.
Never heard of it.
On October 15th, they're starting another anthology called The Mortuary Collection. A young drifter applies for a job at the local mortuary and meets an eccentric mortician who chronicles the strange history of the town through a series of twisted tales, each more terrifying than the last.
Sounds like Body Bags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
I don't know how many episodes or anything else beyond that, so I'm just happy. It sounds like we're going to get a ton of programming coming because The Haunting of Bly House is coming out like on the 9th.
Oof, I can't wait for that.
And then there's several new releases coming out. So October is shaping up.
Well, it better.
Uh,
At the time.
Netflix. This is not coming out anytime soon. Probably because they haven't cast the lead yet. But Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story, is going to come to Netflix from American Horror Story creator Ryan Murphy, who did the recent series Ratched, which is the Nurse Ratched prequel that we all were
very
asking
convoluted, stylistic, and empty.
So they have
So you're
not
a fan?
casted. They've not casted the Jeffrey Dahmer part, but Richard Jenkins is going to play Jeffrey Dahmer's father.
Ooh, I like Richard Jenkins.
Yeah, he's really good.
Did anybody ever see that the Jeremy Renner Jeffrey Dahmer movie?
Nope.
No.
No.
Oh, you should check that out sometime.
I was
think I even
watching
knew
My
that
Friend
existed.
Dahmer. I got to finish it.
I have that like in my queue. I haven't pulled the trigger on it. Every time I go to watch it, I'm like, I don't really know if I feel like watching Jeffrey Dahmer growing up.
Yeah, I have the same reaction to that movie. Every time I see it pop up, I'm like, oh, I should watch this movie. But then I'm like, I'll watch Friday the 13th Part 4.
Yeah.
It's really good too. Like I saw like 40 minutes. I'm like, this is awesome. But then I got distracted and now I forgot. In fact, I just remembered. It's like a month ago I started.
I'm going to close on a downer.
Ugh.
2020 sucks even more. Eddie Van Halen died today.
This is ridiculous. I'm not going to stand for this
Goddamn.
one.
I didn't even know his cancer was back. I had no clue.
Yeah.
I just know every time you heard about him, he was dealing with something.
I saw them live back in the early 2000s when they got back together with Eddie Van Halen. Jesus,
With
David Lee Roth.
Lee?
Yeah, and I think he was either going through cancer treatments at the time or he had just gotten finished. So all his solos, he just sat on the edge of the stage and just destroyed the guitar, but he did not walk around much. And he did not look healthy. And that was at least 15 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
How was that show?
Oh my God, it was amazing. I was expecting David Lee Roth to come out like old and chubby and not do much. And he was freaking shredded doing split kicks and like acting like a lunatic. It was amazing.
Oh, man. If he could have just not been a horse's ass, that we could have had much more Van Halen.
No one likes themselves more than David Lee Roth.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just a gigolo.
It's true.
And don't forget, Eddie Van Halen did the guitar solo in Beat It, which is a big reason why that song blew up.
Yeah.
The man could do a couple riffs here and there.
Watching him on guitar was just amazing.
So,
Yeah, it was
And now you see a lot of people do stuff like that. But it's like he taught them how.
yeah, he's like, he changed the craft, you know?
Mhm.
So
Now
tip of
he's
the
running
cap
with
to
the
Eddie
devil.
Van Halen. And
Damn
with that, sorry for the bummer, but
Yeah, thanks, jerk.
let's cheer things up with what we watched this week.
I was taking a drink and was not ready to hit that bumper.
That's all right.
No one cares.
Let's try it again.
We have such sights to show you.
So, Hunter, since you didn't watch the main feature, what the heck did you watch, you moron?
Yay, I get to lead off. That
You
never
lead
happened.
off.
All right. I watched a movie that was on Shudder because I was in the mood for like a slasher that I'd never heard of. This was one. It's called Dead Kids, but it's also called Strange Behavior. And I think originally it was Strange Behavior, and then they think they changed it to Dead Kids, thinking Americans would be, oh, Dead Kids. Yeah.
I feel like I've heard of Strange Behavior.
If you have, take like that magnet that you can erase VHS tapes, just put it over your head and get it out of there.
Like Dead Kids. Is that where one Tim Meyer got a title idea?
Mhm.
Dead Daughters?
Not
Ever heard?
Plagiarism a drinking
Shots
word?
Daughters.
You hack.
I see a lawsuit.
Can't copyright a title now.
Oh. Well, this is, I think it's Canadian too. The one person, it has Louise Fletcher in it. So Jack, you know who she is.
Mrs. Fletcher from I've Fallen and I Can't Get.
Of course. And here's one good thing. It has music by Tangerine Dream.
Oh,
Really?
wow.
So, yeah.
Trippy.
So soundtrack is actually pretty good. But it's a teenage slasher thing where like the mayor's son, he's in the very beginning, he's murdered and stuffed into a scarecrow. And then this whole small town investigation begins. And there are parties, there's drinking, first of all, there is a scene, there's a running relationship in this where the girl who says she's 14 looks like she's 12 and she's with an 18-year-old, or she says she's 12. It's just disturbing. I'm like, well, this is straight up statutory rape, but okay, I guess it's fine. It's 1981. Anything went back then. But you go from like a slasher movie to finding out that one of the kids' mothers worked with this strange doctor who was doing bizarre experimentation. And then it's turning into this like weird science project gone awry, where it's like the scientist is doing things to control kids and make them kill or kill each other or kill themselves when he's done with them. So it becomes a totally different movie. So it's two different movies. None of them are any good. But I was kind of glad I watched it because I'm like, I appreciate the fact that they were just trying for something just totally bonkers and just throwing it out there and seeing if it stuck against the wall. And in the end, I was like, I got to listen to Tangerine Dream for an hour and a half. So I guess that wasn't so bad.
So I feel like you're
spent
not
more-
recommending this.
If you like slashers, I think you have to watch it. It's a slasher from the 80s.
Don't tell me what I have to do.
I'm going to tell you what you have to do. It's a
I
slasher
can
from
love
the 80s.
slashers,
You got to
but
watch
not
it.
watch this.
No, you got to watch it. You watch every piece of crap vampire movie. You're going to watch this. So For the slasher enthusiasts like myself, I suggest that you watch it. Go in with very, very low expectations. Maybe go in 6 beers in. You might have even more fun with it, especially when it takes that weird turn. So there you go.
6 beers. Wow.
That 6 beer movie. That's really
that's
bad.
Nothing. That's baseline.
Maybe for you.
So you got to go dog years. So it's like 2 beers for the normal person.
6 beers that are 6% alcohol. Think you'll be
dead
fine.
after 6 beers. I'm in the hospital.
I was just told I can't do this anymore. Lutsky was on Twitter saying there's a reason I don't remember half the movies we watch. It's because I'm drunk all the time.
That's true. Sometimes that's a good thing, though.
If you have to watch all the shit I watch, you drink too.
Yeah, exactly. You got to get critters out of your head first before you cram this Amityville crap
That's
in
right.
there.
I have to kill the brain cells.
So there it goes. Get your dead kids while you can.
Jason, with the stuff you watch, you don't need drinking to kill your brain cells. The movies are doing it already.
That's true. It's just my soul I'm trying to obliterate.
All right. Jason, what'd you watch?
Well, I watched Amityville 3D. Which
the hand, right? It's yeah, that's it.
Yep.
It has to be good because it's 3D.
Exactly.
All 3D
And you know,
great.
it's the 3rd movie. So somebody was really thinking this through.
Yeah, no one ever does like Amityville 5 3D.
Yeah.
Actually, Nightmare on Elm Street did.
Did they?
Yeah, like the 5th
There's a
one. was
3D Nightmare on Elm Street? I completely
Yeah.
forgot.
Really?
I don't even remember
I think it's the Freddy's Dead. I think it's one with the video game.
Freddy
One of
got
them is
fingered.
definitely
Oh
3D.
god, the one where he's playing Nintendo and like bouncing people around.
I can't remember which one it is, but if I had to guess it's that one, but there's definitely a 3D Nightmare on Elm Street.
Jeez.
See, now you're making me remember that shit.
Next year.
So, this movie, I remembered the first one being slow burn, fine as a movie with a bad ending. The second one surprised me because it was batshit crazy. It wasn't good, but it was a lot of fun, and I appreciated watching it. This one was more akin to having your nails pulled out. It's
got Tony Roberts, Broadway star.
Man. So it starts with these people going in and kind of busting a seance a fake seance that's being done in the house. And then the guy who's a skeptic who put a stop to it buys the house because it's a cheap deal. And what do you know? It's haunted. And bad things start to happen to his family. And, you know, the usual haunted house stuff moving around. And like at one point, but everyone's reaction in this movie is so bizarre. He hears water running upstairs. So he goes up and the hot water in his bathroom is turned on full blast. But first of all, this man must not have feeling in his body because it's so hot coming out of the faucet. It's just steam and he can't get it shut off. So he's under the sink working at it and the walls start to close in. And then he finally gets water turned off. And when he stops, everything's back to normal. And I'm like, really? These are the level of scares we're getting in Amityville 3D. Beautiful.
In 3D.
At the ending,
If you had to
of
hire
course,
a plumber, that would be the real scary thing.
dude. The end turns into Poltergeist. So the second movie ripped off Evil Dead and was it The Exorcist? This one, the end rips off Poltergeist, where they bring in these people to do investigations, and it gets really bad in the 3rd act. And let's see what else is memorable. Oh, the movie looks like garbage. I think because they shot it in 3D, the lenses they used or something. I mean, it is bad. Like the chromatic aberrations around the side. That's when the colors
chromatic
shift on
what?
the film. Exactly.
Ooh.
Chromatic what?
Yeah, chromatic aberrations.
Oh, I just
Name of my next
I
book.
just got the chills.
Man, people should be paying me for this education.
You just set Jack's next nocturnal emission.
The everything else. I mean, it just looked bad. It was strange. Watching this was just.
Were there some
strange.
great the 3D moments that you're not watching in 3D, but they're taking a stick.
Oh yeah,
and going,
tons of them.
what's this?
Yeah, tons of them. And it also continued with the house is haunted, but it controls everything anywhere in the world. So if somebody knows about it, it can control your car and make you crash. And then a pole goes through the windshield with a nice 3D effect. And then you catch on fire and can't get out of the car.
House
Shit
must
like
be
that.
on a ley line.
Yeah,
That's how it works.
And did Tangerine Dream do the music for this?
I didn't notice any really cool music, I'm gonna say. But
Banana Hammock did it.
this movie is notable for oh God, what the hell was her name? Lori Loughlin is in this before she was bribing school officials for her children.
Pre-jail.
And Meg Ryan was in this.
What?
Wow.
She was?
Yeah,
I don't even
Meg
remember
Ryan.
that.
A very young Meg Ryan. She's in it. Her friend drowns, and then she's just not in the movie anymore. So
That's
Get me when Harry met Sally.
who needs an arc?
Who needs a character arc?
So the series at 3 has already jumped off a cliff, and I am in the 7th circle of hell.
You do it to yourself. We don't feel bad for you at all.
I do.
Yeah, really.
I do. At this point, it's obvious. I just like being in pain.
I hope you're selling a lot of books from doing this podcast because we don't get paid to do this.
No.
This is
Chad's
costing
paying
me
for
money.
this. It's costing you a lot.
The things
That's
you
my
do
marriage.
to entertain the people.
Yeah, now it's just because Lutsky wanted me to watch these. I probably would stop. by now.
Lutsky.
Lutsky's fault. Let's just blame Lutsky.
Yeah.
I literally am while I'm watching these. I'm literally just sitting there like, goddamn Lutsky. I was going to save this for last.
Lutsky, you son of a bitch.
I got to get you a dartboard with his face on it.
Just a punching bag would be great.
Tim, the hell did you
Yo,
watch?
oh man, I watched so many things. I had to like pick and choose what I was gonna talk about. It was either gonna be Halloween 6 or Friday the 13th 6 because I was on like a 6 roll this week. So I went with Friday the 13th part 6.
Fine choice.
Jason Lives.
My favorite of the series.
Yeah, honestly, like it was really good. I really enjoyed this movie. I haven't seen it in a long time, and usually when I watch them, I don't know. I like 3 a lot for some reason. But
This is in 3D.
yeah, exactly. Because
yeah.
I have the glasses and I get to put them on and look goofy, and it's awesome. But no, I really had a great time with this. It takes place after Tommy Jarvis gets out of his mental institution and he goes to Jason's grave to dig him up so he can burn the remains and get rid of Jason forever. But by some miracle, a lightning storm brings him back to life, a la Frankenstein style. And he just goes on a rampage. But I don't know. The kills were great in it, and it actually had some like really cool suspense parts. And I had a blast watching it. I think this might be one of my favorite of the entire series.
It's always been mine. It's
Yeah, it's
actually
my
my favorite experience in a movie theater when I first came out. But there's no missteps in this, and this establishes Jason as the resurrected, unkillable killer.
Yes.
Do you ever kind of get bummed that they took Tommy Jarvis on such an arc? Like, because when they ended 4, that was such a great moment, and then he just kind of goes in a tragic direction.
Well, wouldn't you? He was already headed there. He
Yeah.
was a strange kid to begin with.
Yeah, I actually kind of liked that they gave Jason a foil and Tommy Jarvis as an adult later. I don't know. I thought because particularly this movie is so comedic that having this dude who's just insane trying to go after Jason, I think kind of balances a little bit.
Never
I
bring
like
a Red Hog to do a man's work.
It's a shame that this movie did not do well, but it's almost always the movie before it in the series that kills it. And I think everybody was so pissed off over 5 that nobody went to see this one. And I think this one kind of saved the series.
I just remember
Oh,
I
yeah.
saw this on the Saturday it came out, and they oversold the theater by like 100 people. There were people standing everywhere, sitting on laps. It was bonkers. And
That's
the
crazy.
second one, just as bad.
Damn. Wish I could have experienced that.
I know, me too. I was 1 years old.
I experienced it, and I remember when Jason came back. First of all, it was a big pop when Arnold Horshack shows up,
Oh God, yeah, a lot of
and
screaming.
then big pop when Jason comes back to life. That was a
When he came on screen, the whole crowd was Mr. Carter.
oh.
There's a lot of nonsense. But that's why I stayed to watch it the second time, so I could actually pay attention or try.
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed myself.
I go back to that every year or two, honestly.
Yeah.
I think that movie's a blast. When he folds the sheriff in half backwards, that is so good.
I was like, I don't know if that could happen, but it happened. So
Sure, Jason can make anything happen. He's
That's
magic.
true.
Well, I didn't go for a part 6. I went for a part 5. And since I watched Halloween 4 a couple weeks ago, I watched Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. I think it's 1989. Now,
Wow.
I haven't seen this
Endorsements.
movie in a long time. And I remember vividly the night I saw this for the first time, because the ending of this movie with the jailbreak thing, I was like, what is going on now? Because it's a pretty unremarkable movie. And I forgot. So I've seen this like maybe twice in the million years it's been out, because it just really didn't do much for me. And Hunter, I forgot all about the little girl with the not being able to talk and all that stuff. I do remember Tammy Glenn, who's the blonde girl in the devil outfit.
Yeah, of course.
You would remember her?
No
For some
way.
reason, that stuck out in my mind.
Is this where she has a telepathic connection to Michael?
Yes.
Yeah.
So at the end of the last one, he falls into a hole. At the beginning of this one, they show that as the police were like dropping dynamite down the hole, he crawled away, and like he was in a coma for like a year at some like hobo's shack.
Yeah,
And then he
that's
wakes
right.
up a year later, kills the hobo, and goes back to his fun. And well, again, Hunter, I think you said it last time. It looks like a made-for-TV movie. It's just so cheap looking.
4 and 5 definitely have that made for TV patina.
There's a couple of goofy cops that they actually have like wacky music when they first show them. Yeah. And God bless Donald Pleasance. Just get on my back and let me. I mean, he has taken as hard a swing as he can.
This was back when if the check cleared, Donald was in your film.
Yeah. I know this must mean more to other people who are probably younger than me, that this was more of one of their entry movies. For me, it was like, we watched it and it was like, okay, at this point, Michael Myers has just become another slasher, and we're just hoping there's going to be some good kills. And then there's like forgettable slasher movies that you see once or twice and you kind of, who cares? And the other one's like you were just saying, Friday the 13th Part 6, where you watch it every few years because it's awesome. For me, this is, I really, after Halloween 1 and 2, I watched these couple, probably the next one, and the next one really lost me. So Tim, when you said you were going to watch 6, I'm probably going to watch a couple of these over the next few months, just because it's been so long. But
Don't do it, dude.
I don't hate part 6. I don't hate it at all.
Is that the Paul Rudd one?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Well, I might watch it just because of Paul Rudd, but I mean, I saw that once. I think a million. I definitely saw it once. I don't think
I've seen it maybe like 3 times, and I don't hate it, man. I don't know. I mean, it's not a great, but it's better. I think it's better than 5 for sure.
Turds and floaters, dude. I mean,
yeah, we've left Jason at the station with these movies.
man, I really struggled with the Halloween series. I'm not
Really?
gonna lie. Yeah.
It is. It's so weird that like I feel like I like Michael Myers more as a character than Jason, but like the Jason movies the Friday the 13th movies are far superior, I think, as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch Halloween like when you were younger? Before Friday the 13th? Is there like a nostalgia thing for you?
It might be, because I think I did watch more of those movies than I did the Friday the 13th movies. So
you're going to be begging for Halloween 4 and 5 once you get to Amityville 5 and 6.
That's true. Yeah. Think about it.
A whole new light.
Jason and Freddy both have characters that, who cares if you keep bringing them back, because they're, especially in 6, they officially make Jason supernatural, so you don't have to keep wondering why he keeps getting up. They tried to do something like that with Michael Myers here, with that ruin and stuff on him and everything. Oh, God, but the story of this kid coming back to a town, I think, hinders the character in that it really, like what they're doing now, where they're going back and saying just part 1, and now it's 40 years later, and we're picking it up. Like, it's got to be a contained story, because he's not like Jason, who's a zombie, because Jason's a little sillier than Michael Myers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Michael isn't silly at all.
Unless you just got a full-born supernatural him and take him on a boat to Manhattan for an episode.
Okay, or wherever they were.
Hey, Part 8 is a great film for 3 minutes when he's in Manhattan.
Yeah, exactly.
Michael Myers takes Staten Island.
Michael Myers versus the Bronx.
Michael Myers versus the
Impractical
Bronx.
Jokers.
All right, what are we back up to?
Am I up? Oh, yeah. All right, I saw a movie I actually loved. Jack, you're out. This is a German movie called Blew My Mind. BLUE. I say you're out because it requires subtitles. So,
This is not a porno movie.
I'm kidding. No. I know it does. I think if you Google it, you might get in trouble. And I'd never heard of this movie, but I saw there was a mermaid on the cover. I'm like, all right. Most mermaid movies are terrible, except for The Lure, that Polish mermaid.
The Lure is awesome.
Musical. So this is this girl, Mia, her parents, they've moved to a new town and Mia has to start a new school. Mia is 15 and she's changing in every way. She's changed where she lives. Her relationship with her parents is changing. Her body is changing. And she tries to mix it up with the cool kids, these total asshat girls, and their jock boyfriends. And, because she's like, I want to try to fit in and not be a total outcast. Everything's kind of going all right for her until one day she goes home and grabs a fish out of the fish tank and eats it. And then, something's going wrong here. It's really good because it's balancing two things. Look, most mermaid stories are these allegories about changing and growing into yourself. So you've got that side of it, but then you've got this side of, outside teenager trying to fit in and then trying to cover shit up and hiding stuff from your friends and your parents. And you've got friends who seem like real shitheels, but sometimes they pull through, like in real life when you're a teenager. I thought this movie was really good. And there were some cool arcs between multiple characters in here. It was like, I could not take my eyes off this movie. And it is so well done. It is not played for any laughs whatsoever. It is drop dead serious and it's done.
Where'd you see this one?
Excellently. Shudder.
Yeah, it's also on Prime. I'm adding it to my list right now.
Yeah, blew my mind, which BLEW my mind, because I wasn't expecting that.
A German mermaid film.
I'm into it.
I'm learning that the Western Europeans know how to make mermaid movies.
Listen, I love Korean zombie movies and German mermaid movies.
I mean, we're getting real specialized right now.
Now, let me get a quick question. Does Tangerine Dream do the music?
They do not do the music. Again, Banana Hammock does the music. They've been around for years. Just nobody talks about it.
They do Cruel Summer?
It's cruel summer. I wonder if they're still
Jason,
together.
what did you watch?
You know what I watched.
Is it as good as Friday the 13th?
Let's see, you son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch.
Amityville Horror 4.
Wow,
The
this
Evil
looks like
Escapes.
a fucking gem of a movie right there.
Who
It
made
is a
that
gem of a movie.
cover?
I did not know that this movie is made for TV. But
Patty
the
Duke?
second
It stars Patty Duke. Oh my god.
the second it starts, you're like, oh God, this is made for TV. It just has that, first kind of glow to it. Everything's soft.
Amityville will be right back after these messages.
You can literally see where they put commercial breaks in at some points. The music swells and then everything fades. It's like, there's your commercial lead. Oh, okay. So this is better made than the third one. But the idea is so hilariously bad and stupid that like I was laughing. So at the end of the third movie, the house explodes for no reason, but it explodes in this massive, there are like 17 explosions, one after the other. I don't know what the hell's exploding in that. I guess the evil spirits are exploding. I don't know. In the fourth movie, the house is still up. And it starts off with a I don't know, a cabal of Padres going into the house to like bless it. And shit's flying at them, chairs and things are turning on, and they're blessing everything. And then I guess they beat it. I don't know. That didn't seem entirely clear to me, but I guess they win. So then there is an estate sale or a yard sale of all the stuff that was in it. And this lamp that is the ugliest goddamn lamp you've ever seen. It almost looks like Mysterio from Spider-Man. It's just like this giant bulb on top, and then like two arms that are supposed to be branches of a tree. I don't know. It's dumb. The fucking lamp is possessed, and a woman buys it.
I like lamp.
And ships it to her sister. And when the sister gets it, she plugs it in, and a spirit goes through the cable into the house and affects the house in California. But the lamp itself is still possessed. And,
what's this? The Haunted Collector. He should have had it in his museum.
Yes.
Seriously. This movie is...
The lamp wasn't shaped like a leg?
No, that would have been better.
Award.
Better than what we got. It's a made-for-TV movie. It's not incompetently directed, as stupid as the premise is. It just looks like a movie of its time. It's paced like a TV movie of its time. It's not great, and there's a lot of dumb stuff in it that happens.
It's a TV movie. What channel was this on when it came on? I am insanely curious.
I'm guessing probably NBC, CBS.
Oh, there was like no
ABC.
swearing. What was it rated?
Well, I mean, it must have been rated PG. There was only one scene with any kind of real blood, and it wasn't much. A guy's hand was in the disposal, and you see a little blood spray out. But that's about it. A woman cuts her finger on it, and she dies of an infection or something, or tetanus. I don't know. She just dies in a tent in the hospital.
Well, the director was Sandor Stern, who wrote the screenplay to the Amityville Horror. So he's got a connection there.
He ran out of gas pretty quick.
It wasn't the best script either. I don't want to. I actually thought the story of this was bad. I didn't think the direction was that bad, but yeah, made for TV. So that's the depths we've come in only 4 movies.
And Patty Duke. I mean, this is not a good sign.
You're tapping out, right? This is it. This is you're done now. We don't have to
I committed to, I want to say 12 movies.
Isn't there a Bella Thorne one? You got to watch that.
I saw that one. It's terrible.
I hope that's not on the list.
That would be up there. That might be like 15. So you might be safe.
Ooh.
Chad's got a great quote from part 4 from No Self-Awareness Guy that says, "That's a nasty looking finger, lady."
He throws around the word great quote pretty easily.
That's probably the best line from the film, if I had to
It's
say.
the greatest quote I could find.
Tim.
Oh, all right. So, I watched the entire series of Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Yes.
In one week?
All 3 of them. I had seen the first one before. I had it on DVD, and for some reason I just never got around to watching 2 and 3. And I watched Army of Darkness, and I love Army of Darkness so much. Obviously there's a poster behind me.
It's the best.
But like I needed more. Like I wanted more of that world and that character, and just like it's just so good because it has everything. It's got the horror, it's got like the slapstick comedy, it's got everything. And oh my god, like the second season of Ash vs. Evil Dead is like so good. There's this one scene, I think it's in episode 2. If you guys have seen it, you'll remember what it is. But it takes place in the morgue with the body.
Yeah, with his head up its ass.
Yeah. It is literally, I was like, I couldn't believe like what I was watching and like how much they were showing and like what they were getting away with. And like it was one of the best gags I've seen in like anything ever. And I don't know. I really love that second season. The first and the third season, I found like a little bit inconsistent, but it was still entertaining and fun. And but like that second season was just so good, like everything about it, and Bruce Campbell's so good as that character. I wish like I know I think he said that he was done with playing that character, but if they ever, I mean, if there's any way possible that he could do that again, like I would be there for it. He's so talented in that role. And he's just so funny. Like it's just everything about it is great. And I think it's on Netflix. I think I watched it on Netflix. So I mean, it's short too. Each episode's only like 25, 30 minutes. It's 3 seasons long. So I mean, you could bang it out in like a week or two. But I mean, it's top notch, guys. And if you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend checking it out.
Did you notice young Samara Weaving in one of the episodes?
Yeah, she was in like the first season, right?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
I just remember.
I think she was in the
second
first
season is when we discover that his dad is Lee Majors.
Yeah, exactly.
See, I've only seen the first season. I have.
Dude, I did the same thing. I watched the first season like when it came out, and I just never got around to watching it. And I'm like really pissed at myself that I never finished it because it's so good. And like I think it's the second or third season where I think it's the second season. They bring it back and like they connect it to the first Evil Dead movie, and like they do like a time jump thing, and they like go back to the house when that all is happening. And it was like really cool the way they related it. I don't know. If you're a fan of that series, like you have to finish watching it. Like it's so good.
Oh. I loved that series. I'm glad you watched it. I mean, I had a blast. I can't remember which season from what, but I just remember loving the whole thing. So yeah, I second that emotion.
Yeah, definitely watch. Jason, if you like Evil Dead 1, 2, and Army of Darkness, you have to finish watching it, man.
That might be my favorite horror series, to be honest. I'm just thinking off the top of my head, it might be.
It's a killer series.
You have to watch it. It's fucking great. Stop watching Amityville Horror and watch.
Cut it out.
No kidding, man.
You're telling me to make good decisions with my life. That's not going to happen. I really do need to finish it. Does it have a satisfying conclusion?
Yeah, I didn't love the ending at first. I was like, really? This is like kind of what they're doing with it. But then I was like, at least it has a conclusion where like some shows that get canceled, I guess they knew it was going to get canceled because it has like
they did.
Yeah, it has like a concrete ending. So at least it had that. I mean, I didn't love it, but at least it didn't like leave you hanging for something that's never going to happen again. So
Glow. What?
Yeah, right. Crazy. That show got canceled.
Wait, Glow got canceled?
Yeah, today, I think, or yesterday.
Are they out of their minds?
I'm this close to canceling Netflix. I was thinking about it anyway. I'm so sick of them killing shows right in the middle of a story arc. Like I'm so close to just canceling.
That ended on a goddamn cliffhanger.
I think they're blaming COVID for it right now. So
blaming everything on COVID. It's annoying.
Man, I hate that too. I hate when shows end on cliffhangers. Like there was this HBO series that I fucking loved called Hung. I don't know if you guys ever watched that.
Yep.
Dude, that show's fucking hysterical.
It was hilarious.
And they ended it on like the craziest cliffhanger, and then they got canceled, and like we'll never know what happens.
Yeah,
but
I don't know. Man.
Netflix canceled the OA, which has the most insane cliffhanger I've ever seen in any show.
Oh, they did cancel that?
Yeah. And they killed it. You know what? I'll fight you.
Mindhunter. They canceled frickin' Mindhunter.
Yeah, what's going on?
Santa Clarita Diet. Sons of...
Yeah, I'm this close to being done because the only thing I like that they do are shows, and they keep canceling the goddamn shows.
Yeah, I mean they buy great movies like Vampires vs. the Bronx, right? But we can't have good shows.
That's true. You're right. I'll keep it now.
But if coronavirus shuts you down, why cancel the damn show? You're not paying for anything. It's shut down. When things open up, you start a new season.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense. I think it's just an out to cancel something that's cool. Probably because they couldn't like negotiate someone's contract.
Yeah, they can't afford the main
costing too much money.
Main characters cost too much now.
But they gave us 8 seasons of Orange is the New Black. That was good for 2. But whatever.
That was when they had money, I guess. I guess they're not now that everything is streaming and like every fucking channel has like 3 streaming networks. Like I feel like a lot of people are canceling Netflix is what I think. So
yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Well, since it's Halloween, I wanted to watch something that would have a Halloween vibe to it. And so I went back to 1988 to a movie I've seen once and was not thrilled with the first time I saw it, but I was like, this is a fun. I'm going to go check this out again. I watched Waxwork. You ever see that movie where the people go into the wax museum and they get sucked into the.
Is Jill Schulen in that?
I don't remember. I know Patrick McNee is in it. And what's his name?
Oh, Patrick McNee.
The guy who's in all the Star Trek movies, and he was Jack the Ripper, and he's in everything. David Warner, that's it.
Wow. Zach Galligan's in it. That's right.
So I like this movie so much more now than back in, what did I say, 1988. I thought this movie was stupid back then, but it is still stupid. But nostalgically, this movie's better because it is a 1988 time capsule, and I could appreciate it for the humor it was going for, because it really is kind of like a wacky 80s movie and a lighter horror movie than I thought I was getting back in the day. So if you're just looking for like a time capsule to 1988 with the 80s guys, girls, the whole vibe, and then just kind of like, I think the guy who did the special effects for Hellraiser is in it. So there's actually some pretty good kills. It's a very cheesy but fun Halloween. It's got vampires, it's got werewolves, it's got all the different little things. So, and then there's a really goofy ending with like this battle that happens in the wax museum that's just ridiculous. That when it happened, I had forgotten 100% about it, and then all of a sudden I just had this like deja vu moment when I was like, oh my god, I remember this. So does anybody remember this movie?
I do. We used to rent it a bunch of times back in the day. It has Mishu, the little guy.
Yes,
he used to be in the costume on Alf.
Oh, really?
So whenever they had to do like anything where Alf was actually not just like standing behind a desk, but actually moving around, that was Mishu. He was also Pee-wee's Big Adventure, I think. That guy used to get around. He was like,
oh yeah,
he was like the littler Billy Barty.
Yeah,
I've never actually seen Waxwork. It's a definite hole in my oeuvre.
You gotta
this would be like a decent one that if you had like you were doing like a Halloween and you wanted to just throw something on in the background, it would be fine. Or just you want something where you could not worry if you look at your phone for 5 minutes. Check this out.
Yeah,
I know there's a Waxwork too, so I just added it to my movie series list.
That I did not know of.
I have not seen Waxwork 2.
Yep, find out.
All right, Hunter, what do you got?
All right, I'm gonna finish it up with a book. I watched I watched a book.
You watched a book?
Yeah, it was sitting on my desk and I just watched it for 3 days. And then I figure out, I think I know what this thing was about. So I'm a Paul Tremblay fan. So when I heard Survivor Song came out, I was like, yep, buying it, sucker. So, but I bought it it feels like a long time ago. It's been sitting around waiting for like this time of the year to come around. So I finally got to sit down, and man, Tremblay, and I let him know. I told him, I said, you are like Nostradamus for pandemics because it's a book about a pandemic, and a lot of the reactions and the political breakdown of what happened during a pandemic, he nailed it. And he wrote this well before this ever happened. So You've got like ass hat, kind of like your no masker ass hat dudes and people roaming the countryside. The whole thing takes place during one day. So it's actually not even a full day. And it centers around two women who were college best friends. And now they're grown up and they're friends. One is pregnant. And this is not giving away anything. But in the very beginning, they know the virus this time is a form of rabies. And it's not global, but it's centered around this one particular area at the time. And it's already out there. So people are already staying home. And if they're going out, it's extra caution. There's not many people out and about. And her husband, she's pregnant, ready to pop. And her husband comes home. And of course, somebody who's been infected, who's rabid, comes in, breaks in the house, kills him. She leaves. And she's been bitten. and she goes to her friend who's a doctor, and she's trying to get her to the right hospital to give birth to this baby. The whole time wondering, when is she going to turn rabid? Will she turn rabid? What will happen to the baby? So it's really, really heavy stuff going on in here, but it becomes kind of like this: get from point A to point B if we can. But of course, everywhere you go, something happens that kind of derails you. So I thought it was a really cool book. I wish I wasn't reading it during a pandemic. I was just going, wow, this shit's kind of real. The only complaint I had with it, the writing style was a little different this time around, and it took me a while to like really get into it. But that didn't matter. Story was really good. I thought the characters were strong. And yeah, it was a little too close for comfort. And if he writes some book about an asteroid killing the entire planet, we're doomed. Because it'll happen probably months after the book comes out. Because I'm convinced he's tapped into something.
Yeah, that's on my list to get to. I'm a big fan of his.
Yeah. So, I mean, I love Head Full of Ghosts, and I love The Cabin at the End of the World. And this book I really liked.
Cool.
Jason.
I watched a movie. It's not a horror movie, but it's so goddamn violent that it is basically horror adjacent. And that is Dredd from, was that 2012?
Carl Urban?
Carl
Yeah.
Urban one?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that movie.
Me too.
So
I've seen it a couple times, but you know, sometimes you're just looking for something insanely violent and with a simple story. And this is the simplest of simple, and it's just so much fun. I love this movie. Carl Urban nails it because he never takes the mask off. And that was kind of well, there were a lot of problems with the Sylvester Stallone version. But, but the fact that he takes his mask off always bothered me. And this one, they just get right to it. I mean, he's in a car chase right from go. A guy runs into a building. Drug gang, I guess, runs the building, and they lock everything down, and Dredd has to try to fight his way out. And he does so by killing a lot of people. The way this is shot, and everything about it is great. There's this drug slow-mo that when somebody takes it, it makes it seem like time is slowing down for them. So it makes the violence even more insane.
And it was in 3D.
I did not watch it in 3D. I can say that.
It's a theme tonight.
How's Lena Headey in that?
Oh, she's great in that
When is
movie.
she not?
Yeah.
You haven't seen this,
I
Jack?
have not seen it.
Oh,
I didn't.
I
see
love
it
Carl
either.
Urban.
I saw the Stallone version. Like where I grew up in an old Irish neighborhood, and Judge Dredd was the number one thing in the neighborhood, and they all had the comics from Ireland. So I've got like a collection somewhere of like they all like 10p Judge Dredd, and they weren't like our comics. They were made packaged differently, but that was a big deal growing up. And I saw that Stallone thing. I'm like, oh, that sucks.
Oh no, this movie nails it.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
All right, I'm gonna watch this.
I mean, when I say this movie is violent, I can't express that enough. This movie is insane.
Yeah.
Are you watching The Boys now?
Yeah, I'm all caught up.
Oh,
I'm
I've seen
saving
it.
that for November.
It is so
glorious.
great. And Carl Urban, like after you watch The Boys, you want Carl Urban to be in everything.
It's true.
Yeah, you'll think the same thing when you watch Dredd. He nails Dredd. Just stone cold killer. It's solid. If you haven't seen it, 100% check it out, and you'll be pissed that they never got to do a sequel. Because
Do you own it, or did you watch it?
I own it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
was gonna
love
say,
this.
Steve Barnard, RoboCop in fancy dress. I swear to God, I'm gonna come down there. We're gonna have
Wait,
words.
so Barner doesn't like it, so there's no zombie nurses in this.
We're gonna have words with our fists. Oh,
Yeah,
he
there aren't
hated it
weird-
the first time, then watched it again and loved it. All right, saved.
it's fantastic. Definitely watch it.
Yep.
Good pick. Good pick.
Timmy?
All right. I am also going to end it with a little book. I watched, or I did the same thing you did. I read Autumn Crow by Cameron Chaney. I think that's how you pronounce it.
I've seen that cover on like half the Instagram posts in the last 2 weeks.
Dude, this is a really fun short story collection. It all takes place in this fictional town in Ohio called Autumn Crow, where it's Halloween pretty much every night. And yeah, it's awesome. It's hard to say exactly what it is. It's a little bit of YA, but there's some stories in it that have adult themes and adult characters doing adult things, especially the last story. But it's really cool. They all take place in the town, or they relate to the town in some way. And I think it's like 8 stories. Each one's about like 20, 30 pages. So it's short. It's only like 150 pages. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. It was a solid collection, and I think this is his first book. What are you guys laughing at?
Jason put the names up.
I just
You finally put the names up?
yeah.
Oh my god. All right. Just threw a curveball.
It's a good book.
No, it is. It's fun.
Why you should watch.
It's it's definitely fun. I recommend it. I think it's his first book. I think it's the first thing he's ever published, and the writing's really good in it, which you don't always get with like first books.
No.
But this is really good. I definitely recommend it, and it gets you all jazzed up for Halloween. So definitely check it out.
The Shed already did that for me. What was that? No, not The Shed. What's that movie? The Barn.
The Barn, yeah. Did you like it?
I did. It was goofy.
It's goofy, right?
But dude, you and I think we both agreed that the main character looked like a young Jason Brandt.
Yeah, definitely.
God damn it! I got to watch this movie.
He looked like you. He was definitely a virgin at 18, like you were.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you saw the barn, but did you see the barnyard? There's a barn full of zombie nurses.
That's the one with the disembodied butthole. Right?
That's the way out of the barn.
What happened to the names again? You took them down? Jesus.
Oh, sorry. What am I doing?
Yeah, I took so much time coming up with Sad Boner.
Chuck Tingle's taint, baby.
Chuck Tingle's a great writer.
He is a great writer. That's why I'm proud to be his taint.
All right, I'm going to end real quick. I watched, because it's October, going back to old favorites, I watched American Werewolf in London.
Yes.
Which I own on Blu-ray.
Yeah. Nice.
Part of the reason I did this is because I am going to be a guest on the Paleo Cheese podcast with Mr. Chad Lutsky.
Oh.
Son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch.
It's a good podcast.
Yeah, we had a blast, and we talk about that movie, so... I just have to say, though, every time I watch this movie, I like it more. It, to me, is like a perfect movie. And if you have not seen this movie, get out there and watch it right now. And if you haven't seen it in a long time, watch it again. I mean, it is such great filming. The music in this, the dialogue, there's not one wasted character. Everything is just so entertaining. John Landis, Viva la Landis. Thoughts?
Stick to the road. I love that movie. I almost wore the shirt tonight.
My thoughts are, I actually just added those 2 movies to my list, which means I get to watch that, and then I get to watch Paris.
Shit sandwich.
I honestly, I saw Paris when it came out. I was so excited, and I really don't remember anything about it except the terrible CG.
The CGI is terrible in that movie, but I love that movie for some reason.
I can't say anything. I don't remember much, but...
What movie?
American Werewolf
in Paris.
Well, you know what?
Dude, it's a fun movie.
There's nothing you should say. Just let it go.
Maybe it's a Paris thing, because I also like The Ninth Gate, which I think takes place also in Paris, and that everybody hates that movie, but I love it.
I love The Ninth Gate.
The Ninth Gate's great, right?
That's a great movie.
Yeah, I like that one.
Everybody hates it, though.
You must love Caddyshack too. Oh my god,
it's not bad.
There we go.
All right, so I'll put up links when my show gets posted for Paleo Cheese. But Hunter was a guest recently on there too, so
yeah,
check those guys out. All right, time enough for what do we watch this week? So let's get to the main feature.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I don't know.
You have to have a favorite. What comes to mind?
All right, so this week's main feature was Vampires versus the
Turns
Bronx. Tim is a
God.
vampire and doesn't show up on
He's
film.
from Jersey. He can't handle the Bronx.
Okay, so let me synopsize. This is about vampires versus the Bronx.
All of the Bronx?
Eventually.
Oh, God.
So this is kind of Lost Boys Light, we'll call it.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I'll go last. Jason, what'd you think?
This one was. I started it on Friday night with my wife. Got pizza, got some beer. 10 minutes in, she's like, nah. So I had to watch this by myself later. And I think you summed it up. It is the Lost Boys with gentrification and where every white person in it is evil. But with a much lower budget, and it wasn't great. It wasn't great.
I'm shocked.
Timmy?
It wasn't awful.
This movie reminded me. I maybe it's because I watched it recently and we actually talked about it on the show. Of Attack the Block. I was getting a lot of Attack the Block vibes from it early on. But yeah, I mean, it's instead of aliens, we just have like old school vampires, and it wasn't. I hate trashing movies, but like it just didn't feel like it was well made. It just felt cheesy and corny. I love the lead actress in it, Sarah. Was it Gadon, however you pronounce her last name? She's been in she was in 11/22/63, the Hulu adaptation of the Stephen King novel.
The vampire woman?
Yeah, the lead vampire woman. She's been in a bunch of other stuff. She was in True Detective season 3, I think. She's been in a bunch of stuff, and I really like her.
Portia de Rossi vibe to her.
I think she's a really good actress. But I felt bad for her because even in this, like, she wasn't terrible. I don't think she had a lot to work with, and I'm kind of surprised that she chose this movie to do. But yeah, like it was not very well written and very inconsistent in terms of like tone. Like sometimes it was really dark, and then sometimes there was like these really cheesy jokes, and it was like a movie that suffered from, it had like an identity crisis. It didn't really know what it wanted to be. And for that, I think it definitely sinks way below subpar. But yeah, I didn't really enjoy it. It's not a bad idea, I guess. But it's just,
it wasn't the first time when it was the Lost Boys.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that was the other thing too, is like, they didn't do anything different. Like there's nothing new at all. There was like nothing interesting about it. So I don't know. I can't really recommend it.
Hey, I did see it starred Method Man, who Jack would refer to as Coolio.
Yeah, Coolio was great in this. He plays the priest.
Are you sure that wasn't Busta Rhymes?
Bust her rhymes. All right, so I thought this movie was fine. It's not a great movie, but I thought it was like family entertainment newbie like level movie. So I think any like horror fan who's going in like us, like jaded older people to watch this like isn't really for us. But I could see like a bunch of 14-year-olds watching this and having a good time with it. I think, Tim, you're right. There's an identity crisis with this movie where it probably should have been funnier, and it's not quite funny enough. It's kind of going for a Monster Squad kind of thing. It's like got a little Lost Boys, a little Attack the Block, and a little Monster Squad. And it doesn't quite, I mean, it's nowhere near Lost Boys and nowhere near Attack the Block. It's got more in common with Monster Squad, but it never quite gets, it takes the vampires kind of seriously, but it's so light and fluffy. But so if they had kind of played up the laughs a little bit more, I think that they might have thought it was funnier than it is. But again, I think if you took a kid who doesn't really watch horror movies or anything and you put it in front of them, they might be like, "Oh man, that was great. That was so scary," or whatever. So I think there's an audience for this. It's not quite like the seasoned horror fan, but I also think like if you're with a a younger kid and you want to show them a horror movie, this is like kind of a good like entry level
Now,
movie.
as the person who didn't forget, I just didn't get a chance to watch this movie. The tone seems to be completely wrong. You have the grittiness of the Bronx versus vampires, and you make this kind of sounds like
they don't capture
glossy
any
kind of
grittiness
kitty
of the
thing.
real Bronx.
Look, we all know vampires wouldn't survive more than about a day and a half from all the hepatitis C they'd catch from biting people in the Bronx.
You know when Rumble in the Bronx doesn't actually take place in the Bronx?
Oh, what do you mean? There's not hover cars and mountains in the distance?
That was the thing too. Like, I mean, as much as like they said Bronx stuff, like I didn't get like any set. Like, I felt like this could have happened in any city. Like, there was nothing that really ties you to the Bronx. Like, there was no like imagery of the Bronx. It was just like it could have taken place in any neighborhood, really.
See, and that's why I thought that since you have the Bronx, it's so iconic, you could use it as a character.
Yeah, but they didn't. It was just like, I don't even know if I doubt it was even shot. It was probably shot in LA or something.
Man.
Yeah, you made a good point, Jack. I thought the same thing. If I was 12 and I just watched this, would I have liked it? Maybe. I might have. I can't say that for certain. I just know that I can still go back and I can watch The Goonies and I can still watch The Lost Boys, and those are definitely not meant for old jaded idiots like me, but there's just something to them that captures your imagination that this one just felt like something was missing.
It doesn't do what Stranger Things does. Like the kids just aren't quite as developed. They're not quite as funny. And yeah, Tim, what you were saying, like it's not really tied to the Bronx, but also the relationships kind of seem like they were written in a script. Like there's not real, you don't really feel like the mother and the kid. It sounds like a mother reading the scripts for mother says to son, "Oh, I was so worried about you. Don't you ever do that again." Like there's nothing, not real weight to anything that's being said. Whereas in Stranger Things, you get invested and you really feel it. Like, you know, this kid loves this kid, and the social awkwardness that goes on and things like that, the bullying. Like there's no real menace in this, like either from the thugs in the Bronx or the vampires in the Bronx. It's all kind of vanilla.
Yeah.
And like they could have, like I said, maybe a little scarier and maybe a little funnier.
I feel like they should have gone one way or the other. They should have made either like a serious movie or they should have made it a little bit more silly and made it more of a comedy. Like I felt like this was a movie that shouldn't have did what they did, was kind of do just a little bit of both and met somewhere in the middle.
No, I completely agree. They started doing something really interesting with the kid being used by the drug dealers.
Yeah,
and
like I thought that was a good storyline. Yeah, it like disappeared.
Yeah, you could have done something cool there with the vampires and the drug dealers. Instead, it was all resolved in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Did you see The Transfiguration? It's the vampire movie that takes place in the Bronx.
I don't think I have.
I've never seen that one.
Okay, so there's a very unconventional vampire movie, and I think it's a really good movie. That movie is filmed in the Bronx, and you feel like you're really there. Like, and you see there's places that I've driven by a million times in my life. My father's from the Bronx, so I mean it's changed a lot since back in the day, but I still know a lot of it. And so when there were places that they drove by, I was like, oh, they're going in those buildings that I've just always driven by or seen from afar, and just like what's it like in those streets and things like that. So the setting has way more weight to it than this, where like you said, it could have been filmed. I kept wondering, Hunter, I want you to watch it sometime to tell me, oh yeah, none of this was filmed in the Bronx.
Well, I just looked it up. It was filmed entirely in the Bronx.
Really?
There's certain scenes on the
people
street
who made it are from SNL. So
yeah,
I did see that. Yeah, one of the writers,
Chris Redd, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna be looking hard at this.
There's certain scenes that definitely look like they're in the Bronx. A lot of the neighborhood scenes, but then there's some scenes like that look like they could be at any warehouse or any back lot somewhere,
any parking garage.
Yeah,
Bridgeport.
We have a very important point brought up here in the chat as to what was missing from this, and that is from Sheridan Bradford, who says the oily sax man was missing from the Lost
and
Boys.
He's available.
Why would you make a vampire movie without
Still
the I
buff,
Still Believe guy?
Still oily. He's available.
That guy's
Okay,
amazing.
let's get this a quick spoiler.
That was a quick ring. You were right.
Yeah, shit. I didn't even get into the political stuff.
Well, you can talk about it now. I just
The
want to bring a couple
gentrification
things up.
stuff.
This really isn't the Lost Boys in that the Lost Boys is about like teenage to 20-year-old 20 somethings who are like the never grow up. What do you call those? The Lost Boys from Peter Pan.
Mhm.
Whereas this is more, like I said, Monster Squad. But the reason you think Lost Boys is because they take a couple of gags right out of Lost Boys.
Hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah, that whole scene was like right out of it. And then some of the ways that they figured it was kind of fun too, where they were kind of making their homemade vampire fighting.
Yeah.
I didn't mind them doing that because part of it I felt like it was a little tip of the cap to it. And a lot of I think the kids that watch this probably have never watched Lost Boys, so maybe they'll go back and see it done. Right.
I'm not gonna lie. The vampire hanging from the ceiling and he climbs up and stabs it in the chest. I was like, come
Yeah,
on,
that
guys.
was like a little too much.
This isn't an homage. Like you're just taking
Ripping.
like, come on.
No
So that-
homage.
All right, I do want to mention the political stuff just a little bit. Not that I'm going to delve into it, but this is a great example of your message should not be the entire story. Like if you want to weave stuff in and you have a strong story to support it, that's fine. I always use They Live as a great example. If you're 15 and you watch They Live, you have no idea about the Reagan economic stuff in it. You just think it's a cool alien movie where they're controlling people. This is tough to watch and not take political stuff and pick up political stuff through it the whole time, because that literally is the story, is gentrification. And they really beat you over the head with it. And I want something more than just being told about, modern day political stuff. So I wanted more story. I wanted more that went a little beyond that. So that's just my biggest thing was just, this is really in your face with it. Like it is the story. So, whereas last week we watched, what the hell is Spiral, and I thought Spiral walked that line perfectly. I thought they did a good job, getting their message across and just having a good movie with a cool story. And I felt like this just fell off the cliff right away with it.
Oh,
That's it. Dead silence. Great.
Well,
I got nothing to say.
I mean, yeah, no, that's fair. That's a fair point.
Yeah, you said that, and I said it could be funnier. So
yeah,
I do. I think it could have been scarier or funnier, like for sure.
You definitely had to pick one.
It did have some stakes to it though, because when the characters died, they died. And one thing that I kind of appreciated was they didn't do the thing where somebody died and came back, and now they were fighting their friend who was a vampire, because almost every vampire movie does that. So I kept waiting for like somebody like the bodega owner to come back and they have to stake him or something like that. So at least that didn't happen. But they were killing them. It wasn't like they killed the vampire and everybody was okay. So
I got to give you a good positive. They were watching Blade and trying to emulate Blade in this. So I like that.
That was the best part when
That's
they
a
Oh,
were
good
like,
thing.
yeah.
I'm a big fan of Blade. So anytime somebody brings that up in a movie, I'm cool with it.
Blade's also a drinking word. We just said Blade like 5 times in like 30 seconds. So
they also did the Blade dissolve when you stab them,
which that is such a convenient as writers. I always wonder about that, because Charmed always did that with their villains, and that takes a plot problem of having to get rid of the vampire body.
Yeah,
when they explode, it's just like, okay, there's no cop, there's no mess to clean up after this.
That's true. That is a good plot point, or an easy plot point anyway.
If only life were so easy. Think of all the holes I've dug.
It's the Bigfoot problem. Where are all the damn bodies?
They bury their dead. We already know the answer.
Like Colonel Troutman said in First Blood, a good supply of body bags.
By the way, you mentioned First Blood. I watched Rambo's Last Blood.
Oh,
that's a horror movie. He killed more people and more viciously than Freddy, Jason, and Michael Myers put together. The
it didn't feel like
carnage
Rambo
in that movie was bananas.
Yeah. Did you watch the extended version? I saw the theatrical.
Oh, I don't know. My friend bought it from Redbox, and he watches it weekly. I was like, okay. Let me see. I was like, I don't know if I'd watch it. I said, this is a horror movie. I don't like horror. Okay. It's a horror movie, just so you know.
It's a horrible movie.
Yeah, it's not. I was not a fan of that. The fourth one, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Where he's in Cambodia or wherever the hell he is.
I think the fourth one is the second best movie in the franchise.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah,
I mean, the third one, when he's on horseback taking on the Russian army, that's a good film too.
He's looking so buff in that one.
I hate all of them.
God damn it, Tim! How?
I hate Sylvester Stallone. I can't watch any except for Demolition Man. I can't watch any movies that he's in. Can't do it.
You don't like First Blood?
Rocky?
Nope.
What? Stop or my?
Is this like a
my mom will
Jersey
shoot?
Philly thing?
Nope. Just hate him.
Tango and frickin' Cash?
Nope.
Did he ever give you a Cleveland steamer? I mean, because we know he was into that.
The Italian Stallion?
Did you not?
Can't do it. Hate him.
You know what? You might be the first person I've ever met who doesn't like Rocky. I'm not even kidding.
No, that's
What's
like
the movie he did where
loved.
he was like the bomb expert with Sharon Stone?
The Specialist.
Specialist, yeah.
Cobra?
No, terrible.
Cobra. Oh my God, Cobra's work of genius.
Over the top. Nope.
Yeah. Canon Films and Sylvester Stallone in an arm wrestling movie where
How
he
long
arm
could this
wrestles for the custody
podcast
of
go?
his
We
child?
just. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I cut.
No, you ruined the joke. It's fine.
We can't.
Welcome to my world.
How did we go from vampires versus the Bronx to Sylvester
Tim,
Stallone?
shut up. We're still trying to name Sylvester Stallone.
Because I didn't see the movie and I want to talk about something else. And you guys don't seem to like
Copland.
Copland's good.
Copland is
Oscar. Oh yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah,
So
that's
good. Oscar.
Hate him. Stupid.
Staying Alive.
Oh God.
Is he
Hey,
in that?
for all you want to mock him is stupid. He did write Rocky.
I know.
Don't forget that.
I is this a story we need to hear offline as to why you hate him?
No, I just don't like him. There's something about him. I don't know if it's his face or his
I don't
gigantic,
like his face.
I hope
Expendables 1,
gigantic
Expendables
muscles. I don't know. I just don't
Expendables
like him.
3, Expendables 4, Expendables 5, Expendables 6, Expendables 7. How many Expendables are there?
Oh, Steve brought up the rock climbing one. Remember that one? Didn't it have a girl? Cliffhanger.
That's a good
Or
movie.
Daylight, which was Cliffhanger in a tunnel.
Not a good movie.
God, awful movies.
What was
Man.
the one where he had the beard, Nighthawks or something like that?
Oh, yes,
Nighthawks.
Rutger Howard.
That's a great movie. Oh,
I
Billy
hope
D.
he
Williams was in
options
that.
one of your books and stars in it.
no, ruins everything. You're not
That'd
going to
be-
take my dead daughter.
Hey, yo.
Somebody killed my daughter. I'm going to punch the fucking lights out.
Main character's a trainer in that, right?
Yeah. Tim,
Tim?
What?
your main character and your dead
The novel
daughter.
you
It's
wrote?
perfect
Oh,
trainer.
yeah. That's true. He could do that role.
He
Yeah.
could be training Rocky.
75-year-old personal trainer. Those don't exist, but that's
All right, so next week our movie is Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
that would be amazing.
Estelle Getty's
No.
best.
Stop it.
All right, so we've talked enough about vampires versus the Bronx. We've talked enough for this podcast.
Yeah. We've talked
And
enough for the year. See you next year.
We don't know what we're watching next week, so stay tuned.
Thank you, Chad.
Letsky says it sounds like Stallone would have to star in a bad nuclear.
That is so true.
That is the
Dr.
best
Sleep, the
comment of night.
miniseries.
The
I think
rate.
we should
Lutsky.
sign out on that.
Yeah. Good job, Chad.
All right, gang. Thanks for joining us, everybody in the chat. God bless you all. People out there in podcast land, thanks for downloading us. Give us a review if you want. Give us a little retweet. But thanks for your patronage, and we'll see you next week.
Wubba wubba.
Bye.
Van Halen forever.
Game over, man.